Council added a penny to the bed tax that is collected. Of course, we now collect 5%, but that third penny is what drives the Beach and Shoreline program. You're probably wondering what kind of funding, the amount of funding that might be available, and I'll lead off by saying that we won't know that till a little bit later in the spring. Typically, the Office of Budget in Lee County provides us with a projection of funding for next fiscal year, which would be FY15-16. So, for example, in April of last year, they provided us with an estimate projecting $31 million, and of that, the Visitor and Convention Bureau is allowed to allocate or utilize 95%. So, taking 26.4, which is what we manage the Beach and Shoreline program with, we had approximately $7.4 million available for projects this current year. And that is what many of you recently should have received your interlocal agreements for projects that we are currently considering in the active status. So again, we will be announcing the figure for FY15-16 in April, just before the TDC's workshop. So we want to go ahead and just really quickly start with the timeline, which many of you probably have already seen. Today, of course, is the day that we're kicking off the cycle. After we're done, you will be able to go into the online portal and begin your project request. The deadline for TDC Beach and Shoreline project request is February 25th at 5 p.m. So until then, you can go in and out of the portal at any time, leave your projects in draft form, and we'll review that with you in a moment. And then actually, you can wait until the last day to submit it or submit it whenever you're ready. At that point, several things happen. VCB staff reviews projects to be sure that all required questions have been answered and that everything has been clarified clearly. And the next step would be the review by the County Attorney's Office, and that is tentatively planned for the first week in March. And I'm going to have Amanda jump to the approval criteria page real quickly so that, and by the way, you will all be able to access this PowerPoint presentation at the conclusion of our webinar. So the approval criteria, which is what the County Attorney's Office uses to determine eligibility, is outlined for you here. So first and foremost, the project request must meet the legal requirements set forth in Florida State Statute 125.0104, and if you refer to Section 5 of that statute, you will see the authorized uses for tourist tax. And then it's up to each county to decide what of those eligible uses they will use. And so Lee County Ordinance 13-14, Section 6 outlines the three uses that Lee County has opted into. Of course, one of them being the Beach and Shoreline program. So I would encourage you, at the bottom of this document, there's a link to those documents, the live link, so that you can read them yourselves or have staff become familiar with them. It's very important that you fit the criteria set forth by the state statute and the county ordinance. Next, you'll need to clearly delineate the project's proximity to and enhancement of the beach or shoreline. The second point on this list is that you must demonstrate a direct and quantifiable benefit in enhancing the Lee County tourism product. Consideration is going to be given to those projects that diversify the destination in terms of tourism assets spread throughout Lee County. The next step is the applicant must provide assurances that all other appropriate funding sources have been explored. Priority will be given to those capital projects that have matching funds, and the requesting agencies must provide information on the source for future operating and maintenance costs. The total project cost must be identified in the initial request, and that includes projects that you're phasing. Perhaps it will take you several years to complete. It's important for the Tourist Development Council to know future costs that they may be asked to fund. So finally, number 4, the project must have a well-defined scope of work that demonstrates the project is feasible and permittable through all required regulating agencies with a specified time frame. And in the application, we'll share with you in a few minutes, you need to show breakdown of costs that are thoroughly described, and evaluation will be based on clearly presented information regarding project description. So during the staff review, I may come back to you and say, this isn't clear enough, I need clarification. So it's okay if that happens. What I'll do is put your application back in draft form so that you can elaborate or provide clarification. Many times it's something as simple as providing photos to show the TDC what you're talking about. Oh, photos are fantastic. Please always use them if you can. And then down at the bottom, these are things you should know. Of course, emergency repair is something that is eligible, and most of you don't have emergencies, but you should know during the year if you do have an emergency, please to contact us and discuss whether it's eligible under the program. You also should know that you need to have a prominently displayed plaque informing citizens and visitors that the project was funded by the Tourist Development Council, and I'm happy to help you. It's something as simple as providing the Beaches Shoreline logo on your project. So finally, all municipal projects will be meet the terms of an interlocal agreement to be developed between Lee County and your municipality. And I mention that because many times on some projects that span several years, there could be a change of scope, and that's okay. However, you need to come back to the TDC to ask for a change of scope, and then we'll amend the interlocal agreement that we've forged with you. So a couple things to think about when you're doing your application. There are keywords that are perhaps red flags for the county attorney. For instance, health and safety. We've had several projects over the years that were the goal of them was more for the safety of visitors, and while that's very important, it isn't the mission of tourist tax or the Beaches Shoreline program. So please always run it by me or call the Visitor and Convention Bureau and ask for either myself or Lisa Harmer, and we will help you work through any clarification you need on eligibility. Okay? So the next step, another thing you should be familiar with is our list of ineligible items. And again, this will be in the packet when we're done. And these, the BCB wanted to just provide a list because in the past, these are items that were not deemed eligible through the review process. So while we may have funded your project, we may have pulled certain pieces of the project request out and reduced your funding allocation because the county attorney determined these were not eligible expenses. So please pay attention to this list when you're doing your budget detail. Next, I'm going to work with Amanda, who's the expert on Fondant, which is our online portal system, and we are going to actually take you to the portal. I want to make sure that you're all familiar with our partner site. You should be. It's leevcb.com. We're going to go to that site live right now because I want to be sure that there's some new staff on the line. I want to be sure that you know what resources are there for you to access at any time throughout the year. So this is the tourism partner site where there's lots of resources available to you. You're going to go to the funding programs tab, and then of course you probably know we have 3 funding programs at the Bureau. The Beach and Shoreline one is the one we're going to look at today, and on the left-hand side is the dashboard of different places that you can go. There's a good history on the program for you to share with staff. We're going to skip over funding request form quickly because I want to show them the past projects list. So in case you're wondering, I mentioned the program is 27 years old. Lisa did a great job of updating this list, and through this current fiscal year, this is the running list of all projects that we've funded. And I believe we're up to about $103 million at this point since the program began. So if you're ever wondering, you know, what was done where, and maybe there's a similar project to mine, I sometimes, if it's not going back more than 5 years, I sometimes can pull examples of project requests to share if you're interested. Okay, so Again, we're not going to open every tab, but you should know there are documents and resources available should we have red tide occurrences, water quality concerns. There's fact sheets. There's lots of good information for your beach staff. Please make use of this information. Right now we're going to go into the funding request form, which is where you're going to go to access your online application. And it says click here to access the online form. And if you have done, if you have applied through us before, then it's as simple as using your old email address and password, and the system will help you remember that if for some reason you forgot it. But I believe we're going. Is there a question? What happened? It didn't look like they
it's not showing the screen.
Okay, maybe we didn't go to the. Maybe you guys can't see what we're seeing, but we went live to our partner website.
You'll see PowerPoint. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, that's okay.
My screen.
Okay. Okay, well, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So this is the logon page anyway. You're going to either ask to create a new account if you're a new staff member requesting for your agency, or you're going to use your old login information. So it looks like we probably won't go through an actual project request with you today, but it's very simple. The first couple things that are going to happen in the project request is they're going to ask you the name of the project, the location, the amount of money that you're requesting, and the type of project. So where are you? Let's go back to the PowerPoint. Just keep going, okay? Okay. So sorry about that. We're working through the whole webinar thing is a little bit new to us, and when you go live, I believe when you go live out of the PowerPoint, our webinar got a little confused. So one of the next things I wanted to show you were examples of examples that were tied to the application. So in your application request, go ahead and click through, Amanda. You're going to be asked to put a project description together and then back it up with a narrative. And I wanted to give you examples of TDC doesn't know where every one of your locations, project locations is. So you're going to be asked to upload a map in the system, which we provide. It's the brand new map, including the village of Estero in Lee County. You're going to identify where your location is on the map, scan it back in, and upload it back into the system. In addition to the site map, which tells us where you are located in Lee County, we encourage you to use site maps of your facility. So here's an example of a facility in Cape Coral. It shows the proximity to, it is a shoreline request, obviously. It shows what the shoreline looks like now. It helps the TDC understand what they're trying to do. In this example, they're building an observation boardwalk, which will not only protect the shoreline, but also provide a visitor enhancement for viewing manatee. So you can see the map on the right shows we're in proximity to the Calusa Blue Way, for example, and other canals in Cape Coral. The pictures on the left show the project location within Serenity Vista Park. And I believe the next slide is the actual project design from the, so that's a fantastic addition. It shows, this is scoured over by our Coastal Advisory Council. They love to look at these types of documents because their job is to determine permittability, feasibility as a true beach and shoreline request. So please include that, especially if it's a capital project. Okay, the next request, another very good one, shows, in addition to that map showing where you are in Lee County, here they've showed us where they are on Fort Myers Beach. That's showing Newton Park on Fort Myers Beach, and then not only where they are in Fort Myers Beach, but where they want to put those shade structures right in the park. Obviously, a picnic area, void of shade, great addition to a project request, these types of photos. So these are just good examples for you to use. I believe the next document, which is another budget detail that you're going to add to, we have a generic budget form. I apologize I can't show it to you, but many of you will remember we have a budget form in the portal, and it actually only allows you to enter the TDC eligible expenses, and then you're going to put anything that the TDC typically doesn't fund into your match. Okay, please, I encourage you to fill those match boxes. Anything we can't fund, fill it up. You're funding it, or perhaps another agency, WSAND, somebody is funding it for you. This is a great backup to the budget request. The City of Sanibel provides very well thought out, shows the TDC. They've, obviously got a well thought out and backed up budget expense list. And it also allows them to go through and identify those items that perhaps they won't fund. In the past, things like, picnic tables, believe it or not, I don't believe are eligible under the program. So they would pull that out and then reallocate your total project request. Okay, so that's a good maintenance backup. Another good one would be what Lee County does, and that is, they get a lump sum for their maintenance request, but they use that in a variety of different locations. So this allows the TDC to see exactly where their maintenance funds are being utilized. They've got a good track record on operating, and then they've also included their match, what they're spending on that facility. So that these are fantastic examples, and the better backup you provide to your budget list, the easier it is for staff and the TDC to understand it. Okay, what's next? Look at it. So what we do when we review, again, it's the VCB, the County Attorney, Coastal Advisory Council. We put all of the comments and the opinions and the rulings into a document that we then share with the TDC. And this is just kind of they do look at every single project request, I think. I'm pretty sure. I hope they do. But this is a cheat sheet for them, They can look at this, and then if they have deeper questions, they go to the request itself. And then, of course, you can look at this list and see the name of the agency, the project name. The first 4 or 5 on this list have a code of BN, and that's beach nourishment. And you should know that historically the TDC has funded the beach and shoreline money by priority, beach nourishment being the #1 priority. If we only had a certain amount of money and it was only going to cover beach nourishment, that's as far as we would be able to take it. We've been lucky that we've had more. So the next item or type of project that they're considering a priority is maintenance. And that is the bulk of what all of you are asking for. So maintenance is listed. There is a box on the application that asks you to prioritize your projects. So you'll see the 3rd column on this sheet shows, for instance, the City of Sanibel, project 3BN, they have listed it as their 2nd priority. It's an erosion survey and it's a nourishment project. So while it's their first project for Sanibel listed on this document, the TDC needs to know that it's the 2nd priority for the City of Sanibel. Probably their first priority is their maintenance request, which it's not visible on this exact sheet. So that's what the agency priority means. We're going to list the amount requested, the county attorney's opinion, and then her comments, and then the CAT comments, the Coastal Advisory Council, any comments that they have. Sometimes they'll have suggestions for a better type of composite material to use on your boardwalk decking. Those are the types of comments they'll include. And then the very last column to the right is the Tourist Development Council comment. You should know that because TDC operates in Sunshine, they don't actually enter their comments into the portal. They make them by hand and bring them to the workshop because the purpose of their review workshop is to have a discussion on every project. So this is the determination sheet again, and this is the one that I work hard to make to help them understand and clarify everything. And if I come back to you and ask you for clarification, that's why. I just want to be sure that they have everything they need to make a good recommendation. And the 4 questions typically that the TDC is asked to think about when they're looking at project is, obviously, is it legal by the county attorney's ruling? Is it a true beach and shoreline project? Does it enhance tourism and geographic diversification? Have other funding sources been explored? And is the scope of the project feasible to permit and construct? So those are the 4 questions that I encourage them to consider when they're reviewing the request as well as this document. Okay, I know we're going very quickly. We will pause and allow you to ask questions. This next document is one that I'm going to ask for your help on. Every year I update the TDC in advance of the funding workshop, which is on April 30th this year, and I give them an update on current projects. Some of the projects have been around for a while for a variety of reasons. There's still they need updates on them. So I will come to you and I will say, please provide something in writing. And I think it looks like we're giving you till March 15th, and we'll remind you of this. But at the review, if you're asking for similar funding and you've already received something in the past, they're going to want to know, well, what's the status of that other project that we already funded for them, and where are they with spending down those funds? So just beware that I'll be asking for your help. And maintenance projects aren't as big of a concern because you do a great job of spending that each year. It's the capital projects that we sometimes don't hear about. So in addition to updating me in March, I would encourage every one of you to send someone from time to time to a TDC meeting and speak during the public comment portion to update them on your projects. Many of you do a great job with that, and some of you we haven't seen in a little while. So be watching for my request for the status report. Okay, I think we're breezing through this pretty quickly. I wanted to show you, this is a 15-year snapshot of funding through the Beach and Shoreline program, and it shows you where the bulk of the money has gone. Obviously, beach nourishment is a priority. However, the bulk of the funding has been spent on maintenance, and that's taking care of what we've built. All those capital projects, beaches, once they're nourished, need to be taken care of. That's all your staff. So capital is the next area, and then operational, and that would be the staff here at the Bureau and the expenses that we incur in operating the program. Other projects, in case you're wondering, you may have another project request this year. That would be something perhaps like a survey or a monitoring project. It's been probably 3 years since the TDC has funded any other projects, and that for a time there funding was tight. But if you have a project that fits in the other category, it's probably a good time to ask, because tourist tax is up higher than it's ever been. So that's just a snapshot on where we've spent the money to date. So I believe that what we're going to do now is allow any of you that would like a chance to raise your hand. You should know that we are here every day during the week, and we come out and visit you, all of you, from time to time, whether you know it or not. You can always call our office with questions about a project request, with questions about eligibility. While Andrea can't meet with every one of you, she is happy to answer any questions I send to her, as it pertains to eligibility legalities. So don't hesitate to do that soon if you're thinking of something that you're unsure of. But I apologize we couldn't go into a request form. I think most of you have done it before. Please remember, once you open a project request, you don't have to click submit right away, and that's fantastic, because it will be sitting there in draft form waiting for you to either edit it, add other documents, or click submit. You'll see many of the questions have a limit on the number of characters you add, so I'm going to encourage you, if you have a lot to tell us, to type it into a document and wrap it as a PDF. If it's several documents, wrap it into a PDF bundle and upload it, because it takes less room on the online portal that we're using than individual uploads. So again, the VCB staff is here if you have questions. Lisa Harmer is the fiscal person in charge of reimbursing all of you, and I think many of you have met her. So she will be the one, if there's questions on your invoices for current projects, that will be getting back to you. And I am here if you need me. So I don't see any. Is there any hands raised, Amanda? Doesn't look like anybody has questions
we do.
today.
Gloria.
Oh, yes. Okay. So let's see what Gloria has to ask.
Okay. Why can't we make this?
Okay, she wants to know.
What were the 4 questions we should be thinking about when submitting the request?
Okay. So the 4 questions that we share with the TDC are, number 1, of course, does it meet legal requirements under the county attorney review? Is it a true beach and shoreline project? And that's Coastal Advisory Council's job to help us determine if it is. Does it enhance tourism and geographic diversification? Have other funding sources been explored? So again, you're going to want to include a match and list any other funding sources besides your own general operating budget. And then is the scope of the project feasible to permit and construct? So those were the 4 questions. Anything that you can add, for instance, Friends of Florida State Parks recently listed the number 1 photo, wasn't it? The number 1 or 2 photo in their contest was taken at Lover's Key. That's the kind of thing that is fantastic to add to show the enhancement to tourism. You know, any recognitions, accolades, a lot of you, you know, every day it seems things are rolling in saying that, you know, we're the friendliest or we're the safest or we're the coolest community, and those are great. You know, we try to share every one of them with the TDC, but we sometimes forget, so please feel free. If you're taking surveys in your parks or some of the parks, the county parks, I encourage places like to survey where their visitors are coming from. Any surveys your staff has done, those are great to include as well. Okay, and then again, if Amanda could go back to the timeline, just to leave you with that, there are 2 more things that you guys need to send the staff person to. Please don't forget, there is the Coastal Advisory Council workshop. While they many times don't have any questions, chances are if they have a question, it's going to be of an agency that's not in the room. So please remember March 23rd here at the Admin East in the TDC room downstairs at 9 o'clock. The Coastal Advisory Council will discuss the projects. Just one person that is familiar with your projects. I would encourage you to have them attend. And then on April 30th, that's the big one. You need to have someone that's knowledgeable about your project, because chances are that day the TDC will ask some questions. And I encourage you to be there. So I think that, I hope that we were helpful today. I hope that this saved time in your day. I think, wow, is it really, it was only really 15 minutes? That's unbelievable.
No.
So, okay, good, 28 minutes. I hope that we didn't go too fast and that you found this valuable. Amanda did have 2 questions she wanted to ask all of you. Before you hang up, if you can send them the poll questions, Amanda, it helps us to know how we're doing, and they're very simple. One of them is kind of humorous, and I think it has to do with, would you prefer the online application over making 25 copies of your request as you used to 5 years ago? So anyway, if you would answer those questions for us, that would be fantastic. Again, don't hesitate to call us if you need us. Okay? Are they doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. We can show the results if you want to stick around and see what they are.
Anybody have questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
The presentation slides will be available after the workshop at leadbcd.com?
I think Lisa's going to email us. Okay. I think we'll be emailing the PowerPoint presentation to you at the conclusion. And again, the portal is open right now for you to go ahead in and start your application. Those of you that have applied in the past will see your old applications, I believe. I don't know if you can, I think you can go into them and copy and paste. You just need to be careful with that so that you're giving us current year figures.
So it looks like 82% of the audience has applied for TDC funding in the past, and 18% of people are unsure whether their agency has applied for TDC funding in the past. So
okay, yeah, we have some new ones.
Welcome.
We have some new agencies on today. Great.
Good. All right, and one more polling question here.
So what is this question?
This question is, if you've applied recently, how did you like the online process? Great, meh, or I like delivering hard copies better?
Please have some questions. I'm excited to work for boxes and binders. I think it's fantastic.
All right.
What is that? 100% say it's great?
Nobody's being funny and just clicking on hard copies.
I'm very pleased with this result. 100% of you say it's great. So thank you very much.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you all. We hope you have a great weekend, and good luck in your putting your project request
from traffic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Gloria.
Yes, and we'll be sending you the presentation shortly. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.